From last year's roster, everybody will be invited. Goes without question. Without commitment, we have no chance to reach our goals. I mean, everybody talks about goals and this and this and this. There was no maybes, no no's. Everybody was very positive about the situation.
Okay, Coach, it's been a while since the World Cup qualifiers concluded with those 2 wins against Sweden and Finland. Looking back on the entire run to qualify for the Worlds, what stands out to you regarding your players and their performance?
I think the one thing that stands out really clearly was that we faced some adversity, losing that first game to Estonia in Germany. And we faced that adversity, and I think we went on a streak of winning 9 in a row. And that's one thing that stands out. The second thing is we had great commitment from players right in their seasons, this and that, making a commitment to represent Germany. And a group of players was tremendous.
In a couple of weeks, the World Cup draw will finally take place. If you could be granted one wish for the group phase, what would that be?
No, I think it would be interesting to be in the Philippines as far as that situation, as far as logistics and travel situations. And coming from Dubai, that would be the most convenient. As far as who do we play, it really doesn't matter who we play. You have to play well to advance.
These last couple of weeks you were traveling Europe and the States, connecting with players. What was your general impression of those talks?
Extremely excited about all the talks. Starting in Europe with the EuroLeague players, going to the States with the NBA players. Every player I met was yeah, I'm in, coach. I'm committed, I want to play. And there was no maybes, no no's. Everybody was very positive about the situation. Obviously, things can change. Injuries, contracts, insurance issues. Things can change like they did last year with Moritz Wagner and Isak Bonga and Maxi Kleber all being hurt, or insurance issues. So things can change. But I was very taken back and excited by everybody's commitment.
First, let's talk about the guys here in the BBL. You started your travels off here. Were those talks easier because you're probably in touch more often with those guys than with players playing abroad?
Not really. They were all very, I don't know if easy is the right word, but all wanted to sit down. They all appreciated that the opportunity to talk and discuss things, and all were very open. And so I was, like I said, I was very happy with the way the talks went.
This summer there won't be any qualifying windows right after the end of the season, so players can catch more of a break. Do you think that helps with the preparation for the World Cup, to have everybody come together well rested?
I think it's huge that there's no window. Obviously last year the June window was tough, especially with players playing till mid or late June, and so I think it's huge that these players have a chance to rest. I mean, the EuroLeague players, their season's much longer than the NBA players a lot of times, and I mean, players in Berlin and Munich are playing probably till mid to late June. So, and even then, it's hopefully they can get 5-6 weeks of rest.
There are a lot of potential candidates on Alba Berlin and Bayern Munich as well. Even some that have not been playing for you yet. Are there players locked to be invited from last year's roster or summer, and potentially some new faces joining training camp?
From last year's roster, everybody will be invited. It goes without question. I mean, we had the one real strength of that team last year was our togetherness, was our chemistry, was our commitment, and guys being able to understand their roles and accept roles. And, you know, everybody from that roster is invited.
As you said, a huge part of the success in the qualifiers were players from all around the BBL stepping in and providing quality minutes as leaders and as role guys, racehorses and pigs, as you like to call them. Will they too get a chance to jump in beginning training camp? Absolutely.
And, you know, we'll probably go to training camp with 16 to 18 players. And, you know, the best players from those Windows teams will be invited. And, you know, last year I was extremely excited that players from the Windows teams, Singfelder, Boterman, Hollitz, made the team. And I think that shows something for everybody going forward. Not easy to play Windows and not play in the summertime. So, I mean, and this shows, I mean, players who play well in the Windows and commit in the Windows have an opportunity to play in the summertime.
Let's talk about the rest of your travels through Europe. I believe talks with Joe Vogtmann or Justus Hollatz must have gone very smooth, as those guys have proven to be committed throughout different competitions, right?
Yeah, I mean, Joe's one of our captains, along with Dennis, and you know, had real good meetings with them, and spent a couple days down in Milano, watched practice. So, you know, and it went really well. You went to Barcelona too for a couple of days to get in touch with Oscar da Silva. He hasn't been part of the team so far, but yeah, how have those talks evolved, and what are the chances we'll see him in a national team jersey sometime in the future? Yeah, you know, in my last talks, he was always a little bit hesitant, and last year he had some injury problems, as a couple other players did. But you know, I was taken back. He's extremely excited. He had a lot of good questions. He really wants to play, and you know, I look forward to having him in camp.
What are questions you found interesting that players have brought up in those talks? What kind of questions are those?
No, he wanted to know kind of, you know, like Da Silva. You know, he hasn't played for the national team in the past, and you know, what's training camp look like? You know, he has a schedule for the summer organized about having a little bit of time off after the season, then getting ready for camp. You know, I was very committed. You know, he's got his schedule made out, and he's a player I see who really wants to make the team.
Let's jump overseas and start things off in Orlando. Both Moritz and Franz Wagner have been quoted lately about really looking forward to competing at the World Cup. Both have been playing exceptionally well for their team in Orlando too, for the Magic. Can we consider them cornerstones of your team going forward?
No, absolutely. I mean, I was really, you know, I was somewhat worried when Mo got injured last year, just because of all the intangibles he brings to the team. And, you know, and I thought Boterman stepped up well, bringing some of those intangibles also. But I really look forward to having Moritz play this summer. He really wants to play. I mean, obviously he was heartbroken last year because he's never really played in his country. And, you know, and Franz is, you know, he's becoming one of the best players in the world. And the great thing about both those kids is they're both better people than they are players.
Also in Orlando, one guy who was part of your staff last summer, is Brad Brielmeier, assistant coach with the Magic. Is he joining your staff this summer too? And what will your staff look like? Can you say that already?
Yeah, Brett will be back, and Brett did an outstanding job. Players loved him. Federation was very pleased with him. You know, he brought a lot of positivity to the group, a little bit different perspective to the group, which was very good. And obviously he had worked closely with Franz and Mo. in the Magics, with the Magics. So yeah, it's great that he's committed, and I think, he's committed this year and right through, hopefully, to the Olympics if we make it. Klaus Parvis will be back, so it's good. I mean, those two complement each other really well. We got East and West, and so they complement each other really well. And Alan will not come this summer due to a family situation, but Alan will join us in Bonn when we start training camp. I mean, he's got tremendous knowledge of a lot of players in Europe, of all the other teams, and I mean, it's great that he'll be with us to begin with. Give us his perspective. And he's very well respected with a lot of the German players. So, even though he's not with us, the staff, he'll be with us for that first week in Bonn to help out and give his opinion and perspective, and hopefully during the World Cup, I plan to reach out with him a lot, because he knows more about the opposition players than any of us.
So the plan is to have your son Daniel taking his spot to be with the team all around summer?
That's the plan right now. It just depends on what his situation is with Kreisheim or another BBL team or wherever he lands. It's always difficult because of the World Cup and the national team. They go into the pre-season of these other teams, so it's always a little bit difficult to say what the situation's going to be.
One player who hasn't suited up for Team Germany since the last World Cup in 2019 is Maxi Kleber. Unfortunately, he had an injury-plagued season. I think we can agree to that. But on the other hand, he now has a lot of time to recover and rest, and basically like he has not been able to for a long time. What's his status for the summer?
I had some really good talks with Maxi. His agent reached out to me after Eurobasket too, and explained the situation to me, and Maxi explained the situation to me, and as of right now, he really wants to play and is in. And obviously, his health will determine that one way or the other. And but he got I think a 3-year contract. So I think Maxi wants to be part of this team, play the World Cup and the Olympics.
Danieltay Tice is a player who played an integral part in winning the bronze medal last summer. He didn't play much though too for the Indiana Pacers due to injury issues as well. Recently he proclaimed on his Instagram that, I quote, DT 2.0 is on the way. Did he tell you about what that 2.0 version of his will bring to the team?
I don't know what that is. I don't know. Daniel was a huge part of this team last year. And we talk about commitment. You got to remember, he got hurt in training camp, had the knee issues, was gone for 12 days, went to Munich and did rehab, and had one practice before Eurobasket. And, at that time, there was a couple other things that happened too, with Dennis Schröder reaching out about Niels Giffey before camp started. That was one thing, and then with Danieltay Tice's injury and being gone for that kind of time, it would have been really easy for him just to leave, go, and but he really wanted to play. And I knew right then when he came back, we had a chance to do something special.
Last stop of the trip in the US, Los Angeles. Was that your first meeting with Dennis Schröder after Eurobasket?
Yes, it was. Actually, I met Dennis in Chicago. I didn't go to Los Angeles. I went to Chicago and met with a good friend, Chris Fleming, also. And then I had a good meeting with Dennis after the game when they beat Chicago. And we have good talks, and I communicate a lot with Dennis on text messages all throughout the year. And Same with Joe Folkman. There's 2 captains, so I try to have an open dialogue with them and get their opinions on certain things, and with both Dennis and Joe. So, and Dennis is, he's, it's like I've said in the past, he's very committed to playing for his country, loves to play for his country, and he's looking forward to the summer.
How important is it, him being captain and Joe being captain too, to have those guys and Dennis obviously openly commit to the program regularly?
No, it's very important that they, without commitment, we have no chance to reach our goals. I mean, everybody talks about goals and this and this and this. First and foremost, you need commitment, you need sacrifice. And, these 2 guys, and there's a lot of players in the same boat, have really made a commitment. I mean, everybody came on time last year to the camp. For the most part, everybody was in pretty good shape. And, we had different guys. Dennis was injured at one time. Nick Weiler-Babb had a family issue. Joe Folkman had a knee issue. Danieltay Tice had a big knee issue. And all guys fought their way through it, through some adversity, and, came back and played.
One topic that is being addressed through rumors over and over again is the case of Austin Reeves playing for the Lakers. Have you been able to talk to him, and are there any plans to bring him in the future?
No, I actually reached out to Austin about 14 or 15 months ago, when I knew that he had a chance to get a German passport. I believe at that time I had a brief conversation with him. I had more conversations with his agent, but at that time it wasn't going anywhere. It was written in the press that he really wants to play for Germany. During my visit with Dennis, I reached out to him just to have a conversation, not to make a commitment one way or the other. I'm very happy with Nick Weiler-Babb. He has fit into the group like a glove. Tremendous person, very good player. So I reached out to Austin via text. I phoned him, but I got no response.
Before we wrap up, going through the cities you spent time in these last couple of weeks, Milano, Chicago, as you said, Berlin, Munich. A couple of nice places to go out for some dinner, I guess. What has been your favorite dinner over these last couple of weeks?
We had a good dinner with the Orlando guys, with Brett, Moritz, and Franz. But just like last year, the best dinner was with Danieltay Tice. It was a year ago I met Daniel in Toronto, and this year in Charlotte, and we just really good talks, and this year I didn't really know Daniel that well before. This year look forward to it.
Let's take a look at the end here at the exhibition matches in advance of the World Cup. There are some big name opponents in there, especially with the US, with Canada and Greece. Has it been a priority for you to find heavyweight teams that put you to a real test before such a big tournament?
Yeah, I think it's important to play good teams, and and I think it's important to go through tough times in preseason. Those are the times. I'm not saying losing, but obviously when you lose, you learn more. And when you go through tough times, you face adversity, and you want to see how you can bounce back from adversity. And for me, adversity builds. You don't get anywhere without some adversity and some going down, so to speak. So, I was excited. I mean, we play Canada, we play United States, we play Greece. So we play some very, very good teams. And this is good for us. And, the main thing is we have a short camp, that players come in shape. our physical coach Arne has done a tremendous job in the past, reaching out to players and communicating with players, and we plan to have an individual camp before camp starts, where players have a chance to come in and work with the coaches and just make sure we're in good shape. Because we actually start about 4 to 7, 8 days later than most national teams. Just the idea that, to me, you can't be together too long. You have to be a short period of time, and our schedule works if players come in shape. If they don't come in shape, it doesn't work.
That's usually how it goes, yes. The matchup with Canada is going to be, I think so, a special one for you. You spent a lot of time working for the federation, for the team, coaching them. What would a win over Canada mean for you at that point, even though it's, quote, just an exhibition match?
No, it's just an exhibition match. It doesn't really mean a win in the World Cup would mean something over Canada. Yeah, so I mean, it was. I had a really nice experience coaching Canada in the windows, working with Nick Nurse in the summertime. It's even when you get older as a coach, you can always learn, and so it was a really good experience. And yeah, but this experience with Germany has even gone to another level, and. I've really enjoyed my time working with the federation, working with the players. It's been one of my best, if not the best experience I've had in coaching.